G'day, how you going? Today down the shed, I'm just going to be running through how I pull the harmonic balancer off of a TD42. Tools for this, you want a torque wrench that can do about 300 Newton meters, a breaker bar, 41mm socket, cut the pry bars, hammers, soft face, bit of lube, and my number one tool is the Nipex multi-grips. They are a lifesaver for me. Alright. With the radiator, fan and belts all removed to gain access to the harmonic balancer, there's not a lot of room to get to that nut to undo it. With the condenser in the way, trying to get a 3/4 inch rattle gun in there, no hope. Even a 1/2 inch drive. So with the breaker bar or ratchet onto the crankshaft nut, have the patrol in gear, trying to crack that off sometimes isn't successful. Disconnect your fuel pump solenoid and then we'll turn the engine over. Just checking the direction of rotation before applying your breaker bar. With that done now, I can fit the breaker bar onto the crank nut, position it so the bar will hit the chassis as I crank it, and hopefully it will crack the nut. Let's give it a go. There we have it, she's undone. Now with that nut removed, what we need to do now is loosen up that locking cone that locks the harmonic balancer onto the crank. What I recommend doing is just giving that a good soak with WD-40 before you try anything. And what we're trying to do is remove this cone out of the harmonic balancer, so that way the harmonic balancer slides off. So what you're doing by putting all that WD-40 in there, it's hopefully going to penetrate. The most common way people do it is put a bigger socket over, then give this a hit with a hammer. I'll show you the difficulty you have with that. Placing the socket onto the harmonic balancer, so it's just around that cone. Now you're trying to get your hammer in here between the condenser, so that's flat on the condenser there, and giving that a hit to shock it. You can continue doing that, which does work. Just remember, you haven't got much room. So what I've done, I've got an old air chisel, the pointy bit of it, and I've grinded it off just to give it a bit smoother edge. And we're going to try that, giving it a shock that way. With the air chisel, I'm going to run around the outside of that tapered cone, and hopefully we can get it to shock and pop out. And what I'm explaining here is how these Nipex multi-grips are handy as. They lock onto the side of the cone, like so, and you're able to wriggle it back and forth to pull it out of the harmonic balancer. So with a bit of fiddling around, you get them to lock on, wiggle it back and forth, just be aware of the condenser as you pull it out, and it should come out for you. There we go. That's the ticket. And with the harmonic balancer off with the power of YouTube. And anybody that knows, sometimes they come off easy and sometimes they don't. That one just didn't come off as easy as I thought. Anyway, had to use a couple of pry bars and just gently worked it off, and a bit of persistent knocking with a soft face hammer, and it came off. So before installing your harmonic balancer back on, I'll put the nut on, turn it over till I get that keyway just at the top. So that way you know the keyway's at the top, and then, yeah, we'll reassemble it. So after whatever you've done, replace the crankshaft seal or harmonic balancer, just put a thin smear of engine oil just on the surface, line up your keyway, and reassemble. I just put a coat of copper grease on the cone, line it up with the keyway. I'll show you that, sorry. Line it up with the keyway, put that back in, install your nut, we'll tighten that up and then we'll torque it up. So this is the next bit that can be a bit tricky, torquing it up. So about 300 Newton meters. I've got it locked in 5th gear, low range, wheel chocks, and handbrake on. There we go. Should be right. Now we'll just put a white mark on it for a service reference. 30 thumbs up. I hope this video helps you out or gives you some heads up of what's involved. If there's any other tips we can give others, throw it in the comments just to help them out. Otherwise, yeah, take it easy.